the miracle of life. Or, in this case, the absolute nightmare that is being born as a sea turtle. You'd think hatching on a picturesque beach under the romantic glow of moonlight might be the start of something magical. But no, it's basically the Hunger Games, and you're already losing. Behold, the baby sea turtle, all 2 inches of pure determination, wrapped in a fragile shell. You'd assume Mother Nature, in her infinite wisdom, might cut these little guys some slack. Nope. The very first task in their tiny lives, digging out of the sand with flippers that look more like soggy potato chips. And once you've clawed your way out of your sandy prison, it's time for a high-stakes sprint to the ocean. But wait, let's not forget the welcoming committee. Crabs, seagulls, raccoons, you name it. Every creature within a mile has RSVP'd to this all-you-can-eat buffet. The second your tiny head pokes out of the sand, it's game on. And here comes the first life lesson. Coordination. You'd think there'd be a tutorial round or at least a warm-up. Nope. You're expected to waddle across a beach that feels roughly the size of the Sahara, all while dodging everything with a beak, claw, or appetite. Oh, there goes one, and another. Survival of the fittest, they say. Apparently, the fittest just means the luckiest. Finally, you make it to the ocean. Salvation at last, right? Wrong. Those waves you've been dreaming of, they're not here to help. They're here to smack you around like a rag doll. And if you somehow manage to fight your way through that watery onslaught, congratulations. You've entered the world's largest all-you-can-eat buffet, and guess what? You're the main course. Let's take a moment to appreciate the odds here. Out of hundreds of eggs, only about 1 in 1,000 makes it to adulthood. 1 in 1,000. Those are worse odds than winning the lottery or finding a parking spot anywhere remotely close to your destination. And just when you think you've seen it all, it's not over yet. Even if you survive the predators, the waves, and sheer bad luck, the ocean itself isn't exactly hospitable. Good luck finding food, avoiding plastic, and steering clear of every bigger fish that would love to make you a snack. So, if you were under the impression that being a sea turtle was some kind of idyllic, carefree life, think again. Your journey starts with being buried alive, continues with being hunted by absolutely everything, and, if you're extremely lucky, ends in surviving long enough to lay eggs so your offspring can suffer the same ordeal. Good luck out there, little guy. You're gonna need it. Congratulations, little sea turtle. You made it past the beach, barely. Now comes the part where you grow up, or at least attempt to, while trying not to get eaten, starve to death, or choke on the garbage humans keep throwing into your new home. Sounds fun, doesn't it? First, let's talk about predators, because apparently everything in the ocean has it out for you. Sharks, yeah, they love you. Big fish, also fans. Even birds still take a shot when you come up for air, as if surviving that beach sprint wasn't humiliating enough. It's like you're the ocean's equivalent of a free sample tray, and everyone's hungry. And then there's the awkwardness of actually growing up. As a baby, you're small and cute, sure, but you're also completely useless. You paddle around like a wind-up toy, hoping you'll somehow stumble into a patch of seaweed where you can hide and not get eaten. Oh, and your diet? It's mostly whatever you can find, which often includes things that are not food. Plastic bags, bottle caps, tiny pieces of trash, because apparently the ocean is now one giant dumpster. And the worst part? Your survival instincts don't even bother to warn you. Oh, a colorful floating thing. Must be food. Spoiler alert, it's not food, it's humanity's mess, and now it's stuck in your stomach. But let's say you survive the garbage buffet and manage to grow a little bigger. Great. You're finally not the size of a ping pong ball, which means fewer predators can swallow you whole. The downside? Now you're basically a slow-moving frisbee, which makes you a prime target for anything with a bite force stronger than your shell. Fun fact, your shell, the thing that's supposed to protect you, is basically the equivalent of wearing cardboard armor in a knife fight. Sure, it might stop some attacks, but it's not exactly foolproof. And speaking of foolproof, let's not forget your brilliant navigation skills. Scientists call it magnetic imprinting. But let's be honest, it's just a fancy way of saying you've got a built-in GPS that only works half the time. Oh, you want to migrate thousands of miles to your feeding grounds? Good luck with that. One wrong turn, and suddenly you're in the middle of nowhere with no food, no shelter, and absolutely no idea how to get back. Now, let's talk about the awkward teenage phase, because yes, even sea turtles have one. You're too big to hide in the seaweed, but not big enough to intimidate anything that wants to eat you. Your shell is still growing, which makes you look like an oddly shaped rock, and your flippers haven't quite figured out how to work together yet. You're the definition of an easy target, and the ocean knows it. And then, there's the joy of finding food. You're supposed to be a vegetarian, munching on delicious seagrass and algae, but good luck with that when most of it is either covered in pollution or guarded by other animals that are way scarier than you. And don't even think about trying to eat jellyfish. Sure, they look appetizing, but they're also loaded with stingers. And let's be real, your flippers are not exactly designed for fine dining. As you grow older, you'd think things would get easier. Spoiler, they don't. Sure, you're bigger now, which means there are fewer predators, but you're also slower. And let's not forget the added hazards of the modern ocean. Fishing nets, they're everywhere. And once you get tangled, good luck getting out. Boats, they zip around like oversized sharks with engines, and they definitely don't care if you're in the way. It's like the ocean has turned into a giant obstacle course, and you're playing on hard mode. And the pièce de resistance? Reproduction. After surviving all of this chaos, you're expected to return to the same beach where you hatched and lay your eggs. Because nothing says circle of life, like waddling back onto a predator-infested beach in the dead of night. Oh, and you'll lay about 100 eggs per clutch, knowing full well that almost none of them will survive. It's like you're setting up the next generation for failure before they even hatch. So, to sum up, being a sea turtle is basically a lifelong exercise in dodging death, eating trash, and hoping for the best. It's a miracle any of them survive, really, and yet somehow they do. Maybe it's luck, maybe it's instinct, or maybe it's just sheer stubbornness. Whatever it is, you've got to hand it to them. They're the ultimate underdogs of the ocean. But seriously, would it kill Mother Nature to give these guys a break? Ah, adulthood. The promised land of independence, wisdom, and, apparently, even more struggles. Our dear sea turtle has survived the odds, barely, and is now a fully grown citizen of the ocean. You'd think it's time to relax, bask in the glory of survival, maybe take up a hobby. But no, the struggles just level up. Welcome to round 2 of life's never-ending gauntlet. First, let's talk about size. As an adult, you're big enough that most predators think twice before taking a bite. Keyword, most. Sharks are still out there, and they're basically the ocean's version of that one guy at the gym who can't stop talking about protein shakes, constantly hunting for their next big meal. You may have grown a tougher shell, but trust me, a determined shark sees that as nothing more than an inconvenient wrapper on its favorite snack. And then there's the matter of finding food. By now, you've got the hang of locating those sweet, sweet patches of seagrass. But let's not forget that the ocean is still one big garbage dump. For every mouthful of algae, there's a plastic 6-pack ring floating nearby, just waiting to ruin your day. And let's not even start on the microplastics. What's the nutritional value of tiny synthetic particles? Spoiler, 0. But good luck avoiding them. They're practically seasoning at this point. As if eating wasn't challenging enough, there's the endless swimming. Adult sea turtles are the marathon runners of the ocean, clocking thousands of miles every year just to find food and mates. And here's the kicker. They do it all without so much as a map or a pit stop. Imagine road tripping across the country, but instead of gas stations and rest areas, you have predators, pollution, and exhaustion. Sounds fun, doesn't it? And let's not forget the whole reproduction ordeal. As an adult, your life's purpose boils down to one thing: making more sea turtles. To do this, you'll undertake a journey back to the very beach where you hatched. Yes, the same beach that tried to kill you as a baby. What a heartwarming reunion. And if you're a male, congratulations. You'll spend most of your adult life swimming aimlessly, hoping to bump into a willing mate. Romance isn't dead. It's just hilariously inefficient. If you're a female, your journey doesn't get any easier. Once you reach the beach, it's time to haul your massive shell onto land, dig a hole, and lay your eggs. Oh, and don't forget the predators that are still hanging around, waiting for an easy snack. You're basically a one-turtle production line, churning out eggs so the cycle of misery can continue for another generation. And what's your reward for all this effort? More swimming. That's it. No fanfare, no parade, not even a thanks for playing. You just keep going, dodging threats, eating questionable meals, and praying that humanity figures out how to stop dumping their trash into your home. So, there you have it. The life of a sea turtle, where adulthood doesn't mean the struggles end. It just means you've gotten better at handling them. Barely. If nothing else, you've got to admire the sheer resilience of these creatures. They're like the ultimate underdogs of the animal kingdom, constantly battling the odds and somehow miraculously surviving. But hey, at least they don't have to deal with taxes, right?